Home Alone came out in November 1990, made $476 million, and gave a generation the same nightmare. What if your family left without you? But what happened to the people behind that nightmare is a story the film never told. In 2026, only 8 of them are still here. Criminal charges filed in December. A secret battle with cancer. An Oscar won 30 years later. And a father who spent a lifetime failing his own son. This is what happened after the camera stopped. It was Christmas 1990, and that face was everywhere. The kid with his hands on his cheeks, mouth wide open, screaming in a bathroom mirror. On billboards, on lunchboxes, on every television in America. Behind that face was a 10-year-old boy named Macaulay Culkin. Before Home Alone, he had already completed 19 roles. He wasn't discovered. He was deployed. His father, Kit Culkin, a failed Broadway actor, managed all 7 of his children's careers like a business. At the height of Macaulay's fame, earning $4.6 million per film, Kit still made him sleep on the sofa. Not because there was no bed, because Kit needed him to know who was in charge. The hitting started early. Kit struck the children, struck their mother. At 15, Macaulay went to a Los Angeles court and had his own father removed as his legal guardian. The boy who played a child, desperate to be left alone, had spent years desperate to escape the house he actually lived in. Then, December 10th, 2008, his sister Dakota stepped off a curb on Lincoln Boulevard and was struck by a car. She died at UCLA Medical Center the following afternoon, 29 years old. Macaulay named his firstborn son Dakota. He is 45 now. 2 kids, a quiet life with Brenda Song. The most famous child in the world grew up and chose finally to disappear. September 14th, 2025. She walked the Emmy red carpet in a silver gown, a black Dior gown, laughing with the cast of the studio. 4 months later, she was gone. Her name was Catherine O'Hara. She played Kate McAllister, the mother who forgot her son. But the woman behind that role spent 50 years making sure nobody around her felt forgotten. She started at Second City, Toronto in 1974, washing dishes before they let her on stage. That is where she met John Candy. That is where she met Eugene Levy. And that is where she built the instincts that would produce the most iconic scream in Christmas film history. The line, "Kevin," was not scripted. It came from 40 years of improvisational muscle memory in one unbroken take. She battled cancer in secret from March 2025 until the end. No statement, no announcement, no farewell tour. She simply kept working, while her body was fighting something the rest of the world knew nothing about. On January 30th, 2026, a pulmonary embolism ended it. She was 71. She died at home in Brentwood, with Bo Welch, her husband of 33 years, beside her. After she died, Macaulay Culkin wrote 2 words online. "Mama, I thought we had time." In her last known interview, someone asked what she loved most about being in her 70s. She said, "Being alive." She meant it. Emmy, Golden Globe, Oscar, Broadway, and he almost didn't want any of it. Kieran Culkin was 8 years old in Home Alone. Fuller McAllister, the little cousin who always wet the bed after too much Pepsi. While his brother Macaulay became the most famous child on Earth, Kieran stood just off camera and watched. What he saw made him think, "Poor guy, that sucks for him." He kept acting, but kept the volume low on purpose for 30 years. Guest roles, indie films, off-Broadway. He told Esquire in 2023, "I really wanted to be an actor, but I didn't want to be successful at it." Then Succession. Then Emmy 2024. Then Oscar 2025 for A Real Pain. At the Golden Globes, he thanked his mother for raising 7 kids alone, then turned to Pedro Pascal and said, "Suck it, Pedro." His sister Dakota, the one both brothers called the funniest person in the family, died in 2008. Kieran later realized he had been playing her sense of humor on screen for years without knowing it. Roman Roy laughed like Dakota Culkin, but not every person on this set had 30 years to find their footing. The man who drove Kevin's mother home that Christmas night never made it home himself. He did not charge a single dollar for this film, not one. He showed up, made Catherine O'Hara laugh for 2 days straight in the back of a moving truck, walked away without a paycheck. His name was John Candy, and he did it as a favor for his friend John Hughes. He grew up without a father. Sidney Candy died of a heart attack when John was 5 years old. That date, that number, never left him. He spent the rest of his life watching his own body and wondering when the same clock would stop for him. He smoked. He struggled with his weight for decades, at times exceeding 375 pounds. His friends watched and worried. He told them not to. On the night of March 3rd, 1994, he finished what colleagues called his best day of filming on Wagons East in Durango, Mexico. He cooked spaghetti for his assistant. He called Robert Picardo and Richard Lewis to thank them, like a kid who had a great day at camp. He went to bed. He did not wake up. He was 43 years old, the same age his father never passed. Catherine O'Hara read his eulogy in Toronto. She had known him since 1976. Macaulay Culkin, years later, said this: "I remember John caring when not a lot of people did." That was the whole man in one sentence. 1990. He won the Oscar for playing a psychopathic killer in Goodfellas. He spent his evenings getting hit by a paint can in Home Alone. Same year. Same man. His name is Joe Pesci. He was 47 when this film came out. Already a legend. Already feared. He based Harry Lime entirely on Yosemite Sam, a small man with a huge temper who loses every single fight to someone smaller. When Chris Columbus told him he had the role, Pesci said he didn't believe it. He married Claudia Harrow in 1988. They divorced in 1992. They had one daughter, Tiffany. In May 2000, Claudia's second husband, stuntman Garrett Warren, was shot 4 times outside his front door. Chest, neck, left hip, right eye. He lost the eye. He survived. Investigators traced the contract back to Claudia. She had paid $10,000 for the job. When the first shooter failed, she hired a second. She was convicted in 2012. 12 years, 4 months. Joe Pesci sat in that courtroom and watched the mother of his daughter be led away in handcuffs. Tiffany was 20 years old. He is 83 now. He almost never speaks publicly. Some silences are too heavy to explain. Every December, families across America sat down to watch Home Alone. He was living a life nobody knew about. Until December of 2025. His name is Daniel Stern. He played Marv Merchants, the taller, clumsier half of the Wet Bandits, the one with the tarantula on his face. Before Home Alone, he was already 2 people at once. On television, he was the warm narrator of The Wonder Years, the voice of American childhood. On the big screen, he was getting an iron to the face, both at the same time. Neither audience knew about the other. He walked away from Hollywood in his 40s, moved to a ranch in Ventura County, grew tangerines, made sculptures, published a memoir in 2024. His son, Henry, became a California state senator. By every measure, the man had built exactly the quiet life he wanted. Then, December 10th, 2025, peak Home Alone season, the week every network was airing his film, Stern was arrested in a sting operation at a hotel in Camarillo, California, charged with soliciting prostitution. The case was resolved in February 2026 after he completed a mandatory program. The film still airs every December. Some things do not change. At 14, she won the United States Senior National Judo Championship in Hawaii, beating women twice her age. That same year, she decided she was done with Hollywood. Her name is Hilary Wolf. She played Megan McAllister, the sister who told Kevin he was completely helpless. Directors were not pleased when she showed up to set with a black eye from training. She did not stop training. Most child actors in 1990 would have done anything to stay in the spotlight. Hilary Wolf walked away on purpose. 2 Olympics, 7 national titles. The first American ever, male or female, to win a junior world championship in judo. She married wrestler Chris Saba at the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs. 2 sons. No red carpets, no cameras. In 2022, she said, "I've never regretted that choice to quit the movie business." In a cast full of people who couldn't escape what fame did to them, she is the one who simply walked out the door. But 2 people from this cast never got that choice. One died in a hotel room. The other will spend years answering for what he did in one. Before he was the gentle old man with the snow shovel, he was one of the most frightening figures ever put on screen. The same face, the same quiet eyes, a completely different darkness behind them. His name was Robert Blossom. He played Old Man Marley, the neighbor everyone believed was a murderer, who turned out to be the kindest soul in the film. That scene in the church on Christmas Eve is still the emotional heart of the entire movie. What most people never knew: 16 years before Home Alone, Blossom played Ezra Cobb in Deranged, a 1974 horror film based on the crimes of Ed Gein. He dug up bodies. He wore human skin. It remains one of the most disturbing performances in American horror history. The man who made children feel safe at Christmas had already made adults unable to sleep. He dropped out of Harvard to enlist in World War II. Nobody asked him to. He won 3 Obie Awards for stage work most of Hollywood never saw. His second wife died in 1982. He spent the next 29 years alone, writing poetry in Berkeley, California. He died in 2011, 87 years old. The industry remembered him as Old Man Marley. He spent his final years trying to forget he had ever been in the movies at all. December 8th, 2021, Oklahoma City. A fan convention for people who missed the 90s. He had been signing autographs all afternoon. $8 a signature. The name of a character he played when he was 13 years old. That night, at Mickey Mantle's Steakhouse, he drank more than 10 shots. He went back to the hotel, and in that room, according to police records, he threw his girlfriend onto the bed, put one hand around her throat and one hand over her mouth. When she bit his hand, he hit her in the face. While he was choking her, he said 4 words: "This is how you die." She escaped into the stairwell. His name is Devin Rattray. He played Buzz McAllister, Kevin's big brother, the one who ate his pizza, the one who was never punished. In the film, Buzz got away with everything. In February 2024, Rattray pleaded guilty to misdemeanor assault by strangulation, 3 years probation, mandatory domestic violence intervention. He was dropped from an ABC pilot the week the story broke. A separate investigation, opened in 2017 by the New York Police Department, looked into allegations of sexual assault. That case was never prosecuted. He is 49 now. Wikipedia lists his occupation as former actor. The last credit on his page is from 2022. Buzz McAllister never faced consequences in the movie. Devin Rattray spent 2 years in court. The Goethals Bridge connects Staten Island to New Jersey. It was named after a United States Army general who built the Panama Canal. That general's great-great-granddaughter played Lenny McAllister in Home Alone. Her name is Angela Goethals. She was 13 when the film came out. She did not return for Home Alone 2, not because of a studio conflict, but because she was performing in a play by John Guare, one of the most respected playwrights in America. She chose the stage over the sequel. At 14, she won an Obie Award for off-Broadway work. The Obie is the highest honor in American theater. Most actors spend entire careers without one. She graduated from Vassar in 1999 with a degree in French. She speaks it fluently. She returned to acting briefly in the 2000s. Jerry Maguire, 24, a horror film critics loved. Her last credit is from 2018. She is 48 now. No public appearances. No interviews. In a cast where fame consumed almost everyone, she simply became someone else entirely. But the man who played her father on screen spent decades trying to become someone his own son could count on. He never quite got there. December 2016. A 22-year-old named Max was found unresponsive in his bed. His mother wrote in the obituary, "Max was in deep grief of not having a father participating in his life." 8 months later, his father was found the same way, alone. In a hotel room in Palo Alto on a July morning, the coroner said heart disease. Those who knew them said something else had been breaking for years. His name was John Hurd. He played Peter McAllister, the father who forgot his son, who stood in the Paris airport and realized too late what he had left behind. He hated that role. He said it openly. He had built his reputation on serious work, Cutter's Way, The Sopranos, Hannah and Her Sisters. And he spent the rest of his career being stopped on the street by people who wanted to talk about a Christmas movie. The irony was not lost on him. He played the absent father on screen. He was the absent father off it. 3 marriages. The first lasted 6 days. To Margot Kidder, Lois Lane herself. The third lasted 7 months. In between, a decade-long legal battle with actress Melissa Leo over custody of their son Jack. A battle the court resolved by ruling Hurd lacked the temperament to parent. Max Hurd grew up without his father in his life. He died at 22. John Hurd died at 71, 8 months apart. Same year. The obituary Sharon Hurd wrote for Max said, "These people felt things differently, and they made the world magical." She was talking about both of them. Every December, that movie plays again. The family comes home. Kevin is fine. The nightmare ends the same way it always has. But the people who made that ending possible, they did not all get one. Some of them built new lives far from the cameras. Some of them could not outrun what the cameras had done. And some of them carried things so private, so heavy, that the world only found out after they were gone. The movie was always about being forgotten. Turns out that was the one thing none of them could avoid. Which member of this cast surprised you the most? And why? Thank you for watching Golden Star Moments. If you enjoy meaningful moments, inspiring stories, and unforgettable highlights, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss our latest videos. Every subscription motivates us to continue creating and sharing even more quality content with you. We look forward to seeing you in our next amazing journey. Golden Star Moments, where every shining moment becomes a lasting memory.